What's going on, crew? In this video, I'm going to give you 3 money traps to avoid in your 20s. These money traps are worth avoiding at any age group in my opinion, but I'm only 31 years old, so I feel some type of way giving advice to 40, 50, 60-year-olds, so I'm just going to focus on the 20-year-olds out there. The first money trap you want to avoid is comparing yourself to your peers and your colleagues. And when you're 20 years old, this roughly translates to 2 main components: your apartment and your car. Let's start with the apartment. When I graduated from school, I lived in the Silicon Valley or San Francisco Bay Area, and I saw some of my peers that were living in ridiculously nice and expensive apartments, and I couldn't really wrap my head around how they were able to afford living in this expensive apartment. And it wasn't until several months later or a year later that I realized that many of the kids in that kind of a situation are getting financial help from their parents or another loved one. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about whether or not I think that's good or bad. Everyone's situation is different. You do you. But what I do want to mention is you can't possibly know what's going on behind the scenes. So when you see someone living in that kind of a lifestyle or in a nice, expensive apartment, you're only seeing the surface area. You don't know what's going on. And don't fall into the pressure of feeling like you need to keep up with the Joneses and also be able to live in a nice, expensive apartment. Especially in your 20s, you're not going to spend as much time in your apartment or wherever you're living as you think. And I think this is a rough transition because if you went to college, you spent a lot of time in your dorm, reading, studying, hanging out. But once you start working, you're going to spend 8 to 12 hours just at work or in a combination of work and your commute. So you're really not going to be spending that much time on your apartment. Find something and balance it being affordable and also close to the types of amenities that you want out of life. Maybe you want to be close to work. Maybe you want to be close to city life. I get it. But try not to buy something that's completely out of your budget. I can't remember who told me this, but I remember someone early on in my career telling me, want what you want, but buy what you can afford. Everyone wants a Bentley, but not everyone can afford it. Everyone wants to live in a nice apartment, but buy what you can afford at the current station in life that you're in. And this concept also applies to cars. I get it. As a 20-year-old man, I wanted to buy a nice car to flex on people, attract girls, and get attention. And I just wanted to feel good about myself. And I see many 20-year-olds falling into the same kind of mindset and buying a brand new car or buying a car that they can't comfortably pay for every single month. And the reason why this is a big money trap is because you're 20 years old or you're, in your early 20s, which means that you're not going to get the best financing on that car. So chances are you're going to be paying more for it out of the gate. And insurance companies also see you as a higher risk than someone who's 30 or 40 or has a longer track record of driving, I should say. And so you're also going to be overpaying on the insurance premium. And if you couple that with a nice brand new car, your insurance premium is going to be significantly higher than if you just bought something that's used and gets you from point A to point B conveniently and in one piece. And what you want to do is take the money that you're going to be saving by not going all out in the apartment and car category and invest it into the stock market, which brings me to money trap number 2. The second money trap to avoid in your 20s is not taking the time required for you to understand how to build your wealth over the long term by investing in the stock market or in real estate. As a 20-year-old, you're focused on having fun, figuring yourself out, experiencing new things, traveling, and I get all of that. But if you don't really take the time to understand how to build wealth in the stock market or in real estate, you're doing your future self and your future family a disservice. Chances are most of the people watching this video want to settle down at some point in their future. And by investing in the stock market, as a 20-year-old, you're going to be taking advantage of all of that compound interest that just adds up and snowballs into a larger sum by the time you're ready to actually get married, start a family, or just live a more comfortable life in your 30s and beyond. And one of the biggest reasons why people don't really take the time required is because it seems intimidating. I understand that, but there's really no reason for you to learn these concepts today. There's a ton of YouTube videos out there about all of these different topics, and you just got to take the time to find a YouTuber that explains it well or that you vibe with to start learning all of these different concepts. In the past, it was also expensive to invest because you used to have to pay anywhere from $10 to $15 per trade whenever you purchased a stock. But there's been new platforms like Robinhood and Webull that introduced zero commission trades, and the big players like Charles Schwab have followed suit. So now it's free to create a brokerage account and start trading, and there's a ton of resources online to help you develop a strategy that makes sense for you. So watch some YouTube videos, get educated, and start investing in the stock market. Your 31-year-old self will thank you. The third money trap to avoid in your 20s is to avoid upgrading your lifestyle as your income increases over time. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you need to live like a 22-year-old for the rest of your life, but a big mistake that many 20-year-olds do as they start to make more money is that they spend it on material possessions that they don't even really need to impress people that they don't even really like that much. They buy new cars, they buy a newer TV, they upgrade their wardrobe, and one of the things that you appreciate as you get older is that you'd rather actually be rich or have wealth than look rich or look wealthy. Look at Warren Buffett, for example. He drives an old Cadillac. He doesn't stun on people. He doesn't flex. And every YouTuber out here with a $2,000 course is just next to a Lamborghini. There's a reason for that. They have something to prove. They're trying to entice you. But real wealthy people and real people that are sure of themselves don't have to do all of that. So don't fall into the trap of feeling like you have to upgrade every single time that you start making more money. Instead, take that money, invest it into the stock market, invest it into the real estate, and actually build wealth that you can lean on, because all of that wealth is providing psychological safety. A lot of people were laid off last year because of the coronavirus pandemic, and many people didn't have savings to fall back on. And so when you don't have a safety net, you become very desperate, and that seeps into other parts of your life. It affects your family. So start investing, have that safety net. So if something happens to you where you lose your job or you're sick or you have an emergency, you know that you have that safety net that you can tap into to easily be able to afford and weather that storm. And that's a wrap. 3 money traps. The first one, don't compare yourself to your peers or your colleagues. Everyone's situation is unique. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes, so don't compare yourself with them. Just stay in your lane, focus on the goals that you've set for yourself, and be consistent and persistent. Second money trap to avoid is not taking the time required to actually learn how to build wealth over the long term using the stock market and real estate. And last but not least, don't rush into upgrading your lifestyle as your income grows. Instead, invest it into the stock market or the real estate. Your future self will thank you for it. And if you're still watching this video, thanks, man. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, crew.